Welcome to the MixCoach podcast, the podcast dedicated to making you a more skilled and confident mixer. The MixCoach podcast takes both submitted questions from our free members and live questions from our pro members. If you'd like to submit a question or find out how to become a pro member, head over to mixcoach.com/free. We have Rob Morgan who asks, when I hear commercial mixes, they sound back in the speakers. My mixes tend to sound acoustically coupled to the speakers. Does that make sense? Are they reamping or doing something that creates the uncoupled, non-direct sound like mix bus reverb? I don't think they do anything like mix bus reverb, but I do know what you're talking about. Is like a lot of times whenever we don't craft a space, or if something's super compressed and forward, it will sound very close to you, and it'll almost be anchored to the speakers versus like sounding like it's coming from other regions. In fact, Stone Walters did a series of posts about like avoiding the magnetism of your speakers. So it's like, mix out there where it sounds like space and creating this space. You could probably find those on mixcoach.com, those blog posts. And those are, I think it was called like mixing in the box or mixing inside the box or something like that is what he was calling it. So
Demagnetizing your mix.
That's what it was. Yeah. Demagnetizing the mix. So you could probably find some good stuff in there. What do you think, Kev? Like as far as that depth and that space where like you listen to a mix and it's there and you feel like you're in the space.
I don't know. I haven't really. I've never even thought of it in terms of coupled to the speaker.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I can really speak on that with a lot of education. I just know that I don't know. I just tend to pan stuff hard, left and right, and like when we were listening to one of my mixes on Spotify over at the NAMM show, and it sounded wider than I remember it sounding it. I mixed it on the NS10s, and when I listened to it on the is it PC? What was the speaker?
PCMs.
That's what they have at Capitol.
Yep.
And when I listened to it, I thought, wow, that mix really sounds wide. So I guess I do kind of understand what you're talking about it sounding. It sounded wider than I remember mixing it on those speakers. So I think probably what you're talking about, Rob, it has more to do with your speakers than
it's not really it's not a panning or a placement thing.
I can tell you that a lot of the commercial mixers are not doing anything really drastically different than any one of us. It's just that they're doing it at a level that they're comfortable with and that they've experimented with and they've heard it on the radio and they're analyzing between this mix and that mix. I mean, I've walked in on some mixes before where guys were actually A-B'ing somebody else's mix. Yeah. So I don't think it has to do as much with the mixer's technique as it does the monitor that you're listening to, Rob.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question, Rob, or like at least gives you something to pull from. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything really that's drastic that you can change to make that.
I do know your mixes sound really good, Rob. So whatever you're doing is working.
The MixCoach podcast takes both submitted questions from our free members and live questions from our pro members. And if you would like to submit a question or find out how to become a pro member, head over to mixcoach.com/free.